This was something we just didn't have time to get to last week, but hey, let's go ahead. Like we say, responsible gaming. Let's toot the horn, right? When people are trying to take steps in the right direction. We got a thing from DraftKings last week that they introduced a deal called My Stat Sheet into not only their sports betting product, but also in their casino product as well, which is a gaming tool that gives players the ability to assess, track, and interact with their personal stats through charts and information that will empower players to make data-driven decisions on their own play. And so basically, you can go in and you can look, and like you and I have been doing this in a spreadsheet like for a decade because we're sports bettors, but you'll be able to now to go into the app and it'll show you like, hey man, like you're like break even on the NFL, but you're like a horrible NBA bet. Like you'll be able to actually see the charts as to where, things are going on. And will that resonate with some of the bettors out there? I hope so. And certainly at least the information being available is a good thing when we look at just stuff as a whole here with all of that. And again, we're talking about convenience and ease. This is something I've had to do manually for decades, is tracking bets and trying to how do I bet comparatively for NFL to baseball to basketball to whatever. And you can even do it on casino from their Golden Nugget product as well if you want to go that route. So again, this is one of the ease and convenience and things like that we should applaud. And, I hope people do take advantage of this within those products, because there are leaks, as you and I both know, when it comes to gambling. You might think you're a great tennis bettor, and then you're going to look and then you're going to see like, oh, actually, I'm not a great tennis bettor. I should probably focus my efforts elsewhere, or at least put fewer dollars into that as well. So, good on them, and hopefully people take advantage of it.
I'll tell you what, Matt, I think there could be a next step to this that would be really, really helpful. And it's not just for DraftKings, for anybody who wants to do this type of information. Just as we talked about the opt-in with the betting information in League Pass, I think it would be a really wise idea from a responsible gambling perspective if we made it an opt-out that you got, say, a monthly email summary of exactly that information. If the information is available to go find within an app, then the information is available to email to the customer and say, hey, here's your monthly update about how
just
you
so
did
you know.
last month, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be, if it's a losing bettor, it's not like we're saying, put it in giant red numbers and show them how terrible they are. No, just give them the information the same way you would give them inside the app. But I think there is a way to be more proactive with this information for the sake of bettors that would serve responsible gambling interests very well, that would make it clear to everyone that, listen, you might think that you do this well, but as Matt just mentioned, I have not been involved in the industry as long as Matt has, but let me tell you, when you first get that spreadsheet and do it yourself, and you start seeing the reality of what you've done, it hits you pretty fast, right? Like it hits you pretty fast to say, I either need to accept the fact that I am doing this as entertainment and the losses are going to be what they are, or I need to get better at it because I'm not as good as I thought I was.
Yeah, and it goes back to, I like the responsible gaming aspect of all this, and honestly, I just like it from a betting aspect, because for me, it's like stuff that takes hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, days probably, if you added all the hours together of stuff that I have to do every year to do all of this. And if it was actually just provided to me, that would be awesome. Like that would be great, especially if you could make it to where you could just upload it into your own spreadsheet and all the things like that. Feel free to steal that idea, by the way, any sports books out there, if you wanted to provide that we could just upload the CSV into our own stuff like that. But yeah, it's good on that. Another little deal you can find over at LSR, just real quick, Adam, there was a shuffle over at DraftKings as well, with some promotions and a new position that was actually created over there.
Yeah, I think the really interesting part of this, and I'll direct you to the story on LSR to read all of the details, but Jason Park, who has been the chief financial officer for DraftKings for the last few years, moves into a role where he's going to be dealing more with transformation and innovation. I think the notable part in what Jason Robbins talked about is that he's going to oversee the integration of Jackpocket, the new lottery service that DraftKings purchased. And this goes again to what has been a search throughout the industry, and particularly for DraftKings, to try to find ways to acquire customers at lower cost. and ways to cross-sell customers in different verticals. And as there are less and less new state launches coming around, all of the major operators are looking for ways to bring in customers into versions of legal gambling, right? Whether it's online gaming, iCasino, which we've seen already this year in particular, it's going to be a slower adoption for iCasino when you're looking at only really 7 states available. And when I say hashtag, I mean asterisk, because, man, it has been a week. I got to tell you, buddy, it has been a week. But it is that many states that have iGaming. So you're looking at the lottery product as saying, okay, maybe that is a way to bring people in at a lower cost. Maybe they are then sold into different verticals and brought into different forms of gambling. Jason Park, of course, oversaw DraftKings' move into being a publicly traded company. And so interesting from the perspective of saying that we've talked a lot about what is 1.0 and what is 2.0 for these U.S. operators, right? I believe it is a step toward 2.0 when we start talking about, okay, you're taking one of your key executives who was in one of the most crucial roles in all of the company, and you are now moving him into something that is clearly intended to be about the future of the company and where you go next.